Spurs have confirmed now that Wilson Odobert has sustained a ruptured anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee. Wilson will see a specialist next week before undergoing surgery and will commence his rehabilitation with our medical staff. We're behind you, Wilson, is the message from Tottenham. We're all behind you, Wilson. I mean, it's absolutely gutting news, man. It really is. Not just because of just the makeup of the squad, but also because of how unlucky Wilson has been. You know, he came in after a game or two, he tore his hamstring and he was out for pretty much the rest of the season, and now just started to get to grip with things, just started to be trusted and just started to, you know, command that spot in the first team. ACL. It's just so gutting, man. And for such a young player, who's obviously was one for the future for us, and obviously he's contributing right now, but in general he was one who were hoping to grow into being a real top-level Premier League winger, and there were signs of it happening. It's gutting for him to have this another setback, and how long it's going to take for him to recover from it, and how to get him back to his best or back to the level we see him now. Who knows? Because this is clearly also a player who relies heavily on confidence. We've seen the more confident he's gotten, the better he's gotten. You know, he tries more things, more shots, takes players on. We saw even when he was fully fit, when he earlier on in his Tottenham career, you know, he was maybe a bit scared, a bit tepid, a bit hesitant in some scenarios, and it took.
Because we heard the reports about it as well.
Yeah,
didn't we?
exactly. So it took for him coming out of his shell a bit, didn't it? Getting more regular game time, being trusted more by the manager, for him to come out of his shell and show what he's fully capable of, and he's starting to get regular goal contributions. So for this to happen at this point, the timing is awful, but hopefully he comes back stronger. I really, really feel for him. I know psychologically, when it comes to these injuries, that can be the biggest thing when you return. Psychologically, how you return. How long is it going to take for him to get his confidence back? How long is it going to take for him to get back to his best physically as well? Sometimes from an ACL, it can take a year. Just after you've returned to get back to your best, it can take that long. So it's gutting for him, and I really hope he's okay, like mentally and everything. I hope wish him a big, speedy recovery. He's obviously got players in that dressing room who've all suffered similar injuries, so he'll have good support around him. Dragoshin, Maddison, Kulusevski, Bentancur, all suffered similar. So
it's 4 ACLs in the last 4 years now.
It's nuts.
We've got
2 years.
Bentancur, Dragoshin, Maddison, Odobear.
Last year.
Well, Bentancur was like 2 years ago.
Last 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years ago, four ACLs.
Madness. The luck we've had with that is, or something's going on. I don't know if you can call it luck or whatever it is, but it's crazy the amount of bad injuries. But just moving on from how this affects Tottenham, obviously it's yet another kind of, from our squad building point of view, is another right winger who was our third choice right winger, has gone down, and now
all it does is continues to highlight the incompetencies of this board. That's all this does, and yet it puts us in such a bad situation in terms of the personnel that we've got available now in those positions. Every time we talk about this, every time we say we need this signing, otherwise we're in a bad situation, the player that we don't need to get injured gets injured. It happened when we sold Davinson Sanchez. Nobody even wanted Davinson Sanchez, but you can't sell him when you don't have another centre-back. We did it after the window closed. We said, Brennan Johnson, you cannot sell Brennan Johnson unless you bring in a replacement straight away. Mohamed Kudus gets injured the next day. Not only that, but Wilson Odobert does his ACL after the transfer window shuts. So that leaves us with no wingers whatsoever. So how can you sell Brennan Johnson and bring back Manor Solomon and let him go out back on loan as well? The whole thing is a joke. It just shows you how incompetent, time after time, these board make the similar decisions. They do not learn from their lessons. They just don't.
Yeah, and the injury crisis has deepened. So we've got an unbelievable relegation scrap to contend with, and it's another attacking player that is going to be unavailable for us for the long term. And how we contend with that, what we do going forward, it's a big job for whatever new manager comes in. He's not coming into an easy situation, because he's going to have to cobble together a team to try and win games and score goals, and also get fans back on side with, you know, better football. And it's going to be a hell of a job. I think right now, fans will just take results, to be honest. But you know, he has to find a way of putting a team together that's going to
that's going to be able to score goals. And right now we're going to have to rely on Moani, who hasn't got a Premier League goal yet. He might have to play some games. Maybe we'll bring in some of the youth players, but putting them into a relegation scrap, I don't know how smart that is. Do we go back to a 3-4-3 and have 2 10s and just have like Gallagher and Javi in there with Solanke? Or tell Javi.
We don't have centre-backs.
Sorry, tell Javi.
We don't have centre-backs. Danso's out. Romero's out for the next 3 games.
You go Paulinho, Dragoshin, Van de Ven.
Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe.
But even so, one of them gets injured and then you don't have enough centre-backs. We don't have enough full-backs now either.
Yeah. Gray's been having to play wing back. Hopefully Porro's back soon. Well, to be fair, hopefully Richarlison and Porro ease it a bit, but still, that come rushing them back from injury, and we've seen that's happened to a doggy, and he's got injured again. Spencer's been rushed back, and he looked awful in the game against Newcastle. So the whole thing is extremely worrying. And with West Ham improving, Forest have now sacked their manager. So are they going to get a bounce? Obviously, whatever. They should have kept him. Even if they didn't sack him, I would have been worried about Forest anyway. But regardless, they're not going to go down without a fight, are they? So right now, Tottenham are the ones that everyone's targeting and looking at, thinking they're the ones we're targeting right now, because Leeds is getting results.
We're losing men every single game.
We're in the worst form. We've got the worst injury crisis, and we've got no manager.
We're losing men every single game. It is a really desperate situation. I mean, if we are going to play a front three, I mean, maybe Javi's going to have to be utilised on the wing more often than not. You've got Moani, who can play there. Richarlison's on his way back, so hopefully he can come back soon and help out with the numbers. So we do have players, but it's just not a lot. And when players seem to be going down, and the problem is that when you have so few players available, they're going to have to be overplayed, and they run the risk of getting more injuries. So yeah, very, very hard situation. However, there was a bit of a transfer update. I don't know if any of you are in the mood for transfer updates right now, or if it's even any point even talking about it. But Matti Moretto says that Marcos Senesi is a transfer target for Tottenham. As we know, he's on a free transfer at the end of the season. And I, for one, would take him, man. I really rate Senesi. I think he's had a great season for Bournemouth, ball-playing centre-back. And, I think he's an upgrade on someone like Dragoshin, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I worry he ain't going to be brought in to upgrade on Dragoshin, if you know what I mean.
Which one, Van de Ven or Romero?
Both. They'll both leave him. I mean, he's a left-sided centre-back, isn't he, I think? So Van de Ven, if he's out the door, Senesi comes in as a free signing. And, given the fact that the likelihood is we're not going to be in Europe, we might, obviously it's going to be hard to attract top level players, isn't it? And we're not, are we going to have the money even to attract those top level players to the level we could have had? So if we've been as frugal, well, not frugal, but because we did spend last summer, but if we're, we'll speak about Ange later, but he was saying how we got Europa League, so we didn't have as much money as we could have if we were in Champions League. And just look at the summer we had. So if we're not in Europe at all, does that mean the summer's not going to be as big as it would have been if we were in Champions League? And so if Van de Ven does go, are we going to be able to sign a top level centre-back on big wages? Or are we going to have to settle for someone like a Senesi? Now, Senesi's good, but it's obviously a downgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think not many players are an upgrade on Mickey Van de Ven, let's be honest. So
you say that, we'll get into Frank, but he doesn't think so.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Look, if it is to come in, I'm not going to assume that we're going to sell Romero or Van de Ven this summer. It's a possibility. Obviously, anything is a possibility at this stage. But if we're going to take everything at face value and he can come in to be part of the squad, to be part of the defensive options that we have now, I think it'd be a great signing.
Yeah, I think I'll take him 100%. I also think he's better than Danso. He's better than Dragoshin. I don't think he's as good as Romero or Van de Ven, but I think he's done very well for Bournemouth, and he's a good level Premier League centre-back, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think he could be a squad player for a lot of, even for top 6 teams in terms of backup centre-backs. I think he's very good. Yeah. Good on the ball as well. So, yeah, I'll take him.
Let us know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Do you even care about transfer news right now? It's definitely not the forefront of my mind, that's for sure.
The manager's going to be your sporting director.
Exactly.
We even plan transfers.
Exactly.
A Vivian Lewis signing.
The club signings. The club signings are back, people.